Hi, this is Clementine.
Hi, it's Hugo.
We are two French students in agriculture sciences. We came to Malaysia to meet farmers and other people involved in sustainable agriculture development.
Malaysia is a country with natural advantages, such as primary forests, mountains, coral reefs that contribute to a rich biodiversity.
The climate means Malaysia is one of the few countries where temperate vegetables such as spinach, cabbage, lettuce can grow, as well as rice and tropical fruit such as banana or pineapple.
Malaysia went through a green revolution in the late 80s, a period where an intensive agriculture system was introduced with mechanizations and large inputs. The food availability therefore increased, but this has led to issues such as water and soil pollution, biodiversity loss, and also a stagnation in crop yields.
The country has also experienced a rapid economic development over the last 25 years. As it remains a developing country, the focus remains more on high agriculture productivity rather than in sustainable practices.
Some farmers, however, are now turning to chemical-free and sustainable alternatives, which we wanted to explore through this documentary. Let's share our experience with you.
Big Farm, Edit Masyarakat.
SRI.
Now let's go to Cayman Island, the first step of our trip. A place mainly known for agrotourism, for tea and strawberry plantations. It's also a hub for vegetables in Malaysia.
In this area, 3,800 farmers grow vegetables over 3,600 hectares of land. Farms are actually quite small. Most of the farmers use chemicals and do monocropping to grow their vegetables. Among the 3,800 farmers, only 18 are certified MyOrganic, a Malaysian organic certification. They use alternative practices instead of using chemicals.
We decided to meet some of these farmers.
Mr. Lee is a third-generation farmer in his family. When he started to manage the farm, he switched to organic farming. He decided with 7 other farmers to create a group of organic farmers in Cameron Islands.
We are around 1,400 meters from the sea level. Actually, mostly the veggie we can grow is highland veggie. For example, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Chinese cabbage, and I think around 20 types of leafy veggie.
Mr. Lee doesn't use any chemicals. How can he manage the insect population?
Many ways you can do crop rotation and watering, and use pheromone and in the crop to reduce the population of the insect. So we have 13 farms. We also do crop rotation with each other farm, because the insect won't eat won't attack your veggie for long term. We need to intercrop because certain insect they love some crop, some insect they didn't like, and so we have to know which one he didn't like. We plant inside in between there. One more thing, we also use a yellow sticker and sex pheromone to attract some insect. So we can monitor their population, and we also can use water to make reduce their population, because some insects when they are very active at evening, so when you put water, they don't like the environment, so that you can reduce their population when the environment is not suitable for them.
To improve his soil quality, Mr. Lee makes his own compost.
Okay, compost, we use the farm waste. For example, grasses and the veggie, what we do need, a leaf and the stem and the root, and we use one machine to cut it small pieces and make sure it can easy to decompose. So what we add inside the compost is rice bran, molasses, and enzyme. Enzyme is a friendly bacteria. And then we make sure the compost is enough contain water. You must control the moisture very well. It's just around 60%. And you must turn it weekly, every week. And why we need to turn it? Because the oxygen is going in, and inside the compost won't overheat. So we need 4 months to decompose everything.
Mr. Lee and the 7 other farmers want local people to be convinced of the quality of their products.
Yeah, we have a steamboat restaurant. It's because we find out some consumer, they didn't believe in organic, but they want to try. After they try our veggie in our restaurant, they are starting to eat organic vegetable.
Really?
Yes, it's quite how to say, efficient.
After 20 years, Mr. Lee is now very satisfied of his practices.
More and more people getting realized the safety food is very important for our healthy. And one more thing is if we have no very nice environment, even we have a lot of money, we also cannot survive. So this is the thing I feel hopeful for our future.
In Cameron Islands, Mr. Chen decided to grow his vegetables in biodynamic agriculture.
In 2010, we visited a biodynamic farm in Australia, near Inverleith, Darren Alken's farm. And that's the first time that we saw an eco farm, that natural growing farm that grows so well, the plants so healthy, not much weed problem, no insects and fungus problem. So, and we can see that the production is a lot. The plant is very healthy. So then we decided we should follow this way.
Maybe you're wondering what is biodynamy. It is an agriculture very similar to organic farming. In biodynamy, the priority is the soil fertility. They only use 9 preparations called 500 to 508 based on livestock manures and medicinal plants.
The preparation 500, that is a soil spray. It can follow the roots to go down deep into the soil, so it structures the soil and make the plant roots healthy under the soil. If because of the climate imbalance and this plant got insects or the fungus problem, we can spray on the preparation 501. That is to help the plant to get more sunlight, to do much more photosynthesis, so they can become healthy even they are lacking of sunlight. So this is a full bottle of 501. It is about 150 grams. So it can be used for 150 acres, 1 gram only for 1 acre. And it works, although the use is very minimum.
The other preparations, from 502 to 508, are used to make compost. Biodynamy also considers there is a lunar and astrological influence on soil and plant development. It follows a planting calendar.
There was a calendar suggested by Rudolf Steiner for planting calendar. So we follow the calendar for certain variety of vegetables like carrots. They are roots, so we follow where they are the root day. The moon behind having the zodiac, they are enforcing the root growth. So let's say tomato or sweet corn, we follow the fruit day, when that is a period that the cosmic will influence on the seed germination, so that they will carry on with more fruit.
Plus these practices, Mr. Chen also uses cover crops, green manure and crop rotation to enhance the biological activity of the soil.
We are the first farm practice Australian Demeter Badan mix in mainland of Asia. So the first one in Malaysia also. We know how good is it. We don't need the biopesticide or whatever kind of pesticide. So actually it helps the organic farmers to have less input and make the soil much healthy and no any pollution to the environment by producing food. So we can produce high quality food without polluting the environment and poison the people. So I think this is very meaningful for us to teach to others farmers, so that others can become farmer and organic farmer can learn this method.
Mr. Fung, the first organic farmer certified in Cameron Islands. He wants to grow vegetables without disturbing the nature. He encourages other farmers to reconsider and work with the nature.
So when we talk about farming, we talk about how we can live in harmony with nature. We believe here the nature is balanced, nature is perfect. Let us not try to disturb or disrupt the natural way. You know, if it takes 3.5 months, it takes 3.5 months. Yeah, when you talk about living in harmony with nature, not to disturb and so on, then one has to learn to accept a lot of things that instead of trying to change, right? For example, the weed you talk about, right? The weed generally are not welcomed by farmers or home gardeners, because they eat up your plants, and then they compete for the fertilizer, and then they overcrowd your plants, right? So this is no. Okay, besides all this negativity, do they offer you something? The weed, is full of chlorophyll. With the sun, the photosynthesis, it gives you oxygen, right? And then what else? They protect your soil from being scorched by the hot sun. It keeps it cool, so the microbes in the soil is happy. And then when the microbes in the soil is happy, is cool and moist, then they make food for your plants, right? And then during the monsoon rain in a country like Malaysia, it rains every day, heavy rain sometimes. So the weed will again protect the soil from being washed away, so it prevents soil erosion, right? And then sometimes some weed may have some smell that some insects don't like, so they act as a repellent. Sometimes they have some smell that some natural predators will like. Sometimes they act as a habitat for some insects, you see. So they do give you a lot. So these are the parts that we forget to see, to consider before we kill them, right? So please slow down and reconsider before you kill.
During this journey in Cameron Islands, we met the pioneers of sustainable farming there. These farmers emphasize the importance of a healthy soil, That means aerated, with nutrients and water available, and presence of microorganisms. The biodiversity, to enhance the interaction in the farm. Avoiding soil erosion and tillage, to maintain the microbiological activity. The crop diversity, to enhance soil fertility and allow pest and disease regulation. Therefore, they implemented different practices such as polyculture, crop rotation, intercropping, use of local varieties, cover crops, compost or green manure. All these practices we just mentioned are a part of agroecological approach. This concept is still not really spread in Cameron Islands. These agroecological practices could be an alternative for other farmers to produce in a sustainable way. Now, let's discover sustainable practices in one of the major crops in Malaysia.
Talking like we used to do. It was always me and you. Shaping up.
Rice. Rice is a staple food in Malaysia that is found in every meal. Malaysians consume an average of 2.5 plates of rice per day. Paddy is the third most planted crop in Malaysia, after palm oil and rubber. Practices are mainly oriented on the use of chemicals. In an effort to reduce pesticide use, in the state of Selangor, an eco-engineering project was created in 2015 by MARDI, the National Agriculture Research Center, YADA Northwest, a governmental body involved in rice development, and local farmers.
So we started the ecological engineering project on the paddy field in IADA Barat Laut for the last 3 or 4 years. It started in 2015. So basically what we wanted was, initially we started to plant flowers on the bunds, on the borders, and also vegetables. It was on a 3-hectare plot on the first year, and on the second year we proceeded to 10 hectares. During the second year, we decided not to follow up with the vegetables because we found out that it is not the cash crops and the vegetables that we use was not suitable for that particular ecosystem due to several things, and we decided to focus on the flowers, only on the flowers. So the reason on why we use flowers in the particular project, in the paddy ecological engineering project in paddy, is to attract more pollinators and to attract more beneficial insects, which happens to be either predators or parasitoids of the pests on the paddy.
An example of flower that they use in the project is the Chunera. They chose it for several reasons.
Okay, first because of the yellow color, the bright color, they attract more pollinators in comparison to other flowers. And the second reason is Chunera is such a hardy flower that you can plant it and you can leave it. Whereas all the other flowers that we tried to implement, they need a certain care. You need to care and you need to manage them, and the farmers just don't have the time to manage all the flowers. So initially we started with 2 farmers, and then we grew to 5 farmers, and then now more farmers are starting to be involved in the project.
Pasal pada mulanya yang menggunakan ini amat berkurangan lah. Pasal mereka tidak tahu apakah kegunaannya EE iaitu Ecology Engineering, ataupun dalam bahasa Melayunya apa ni, kejuruteraan ekologi. Kami pada mulanya ada beberapa petak sajalah. Cuma dalam akhir-akhirnya ramai yang ikut pasal ada dia punya kemajuannya adalah lebih baik kesannya tu. Lagi itu kita kurang menggunakan belanja lah. Itu. faktor hasil kita walaupun tidak meningkat banyak, tapi kita dapat kurangkan kos perbelanjaan itu. Jadi kalau jadi ditimbal balik, jadi kita untungkan.
Di samping kita memanggil sahabat-sahabat serangga yang baik untuk kita menghindarkan musuh-musuh yang jahat, dapat mengurangkan penggunaan racun lah. Bukan serangga tu semestinya semua tu jahat. Ada juga serangga tu daripada spesies yang baik, contohnya seperti labah-labah. Gitu. Tapi alhamdulillah lah setakat ni penerimaan petani-petani semakin meningkat. Cuma kami memerlukan masa lagi untuk meneruskan projek ni lagi.
Another initiative concerning sustainable rice production in Malaysia was set up by Captain, the first and only organic rice farmer in the country. He tries to gather people in the rural area and enhance the rural economy.
So why we build up this farm? It's not we, because I want to see community engagement. So I need all the youth or community engaged in this village. This is like a pilot project for the rural area. I want to see, first, to build up the economic for the rural area. Second, to transfer my knowledge for the people at the rural area. And then we want to make sure all the abandoned area we can reuse. So all the concept more to organics.
More than organic, Captain decided to use SRI, System of Rice Intensification. This method plays a part in rural development as it prospers in community.
System of Rice Intensification, SRI, is an agroecological methodology of growing rice, which consists of increasing productivity by reducing the use of inputs such as water or organic pesticides. It has 4 main principles. First one is young seedling. So usually we germinate and plant seedlings which are really young at the farm after 4 days. Single seedling, when we plant in the paddy field, we plant 1 seedling per spot and at a distance of at least 25 centimeters. Third is weeding. We weed, which means getting rid of the weed, unwanted weed around the crop, every 10 days during the vegetative stage. And water management. The idea is to keep the soil always moist, always wet, without flooding the paddy fields. So we use less water. Here at Sri Lovely, we go through different stages of rice production. The first is land preparation. So we plug the soil and we make sure the straw of the previous harvest goes back to the soil. So we turn the soil, we apply compost, and usually we let the paddy rest for 2-3 weeks before starting leveling. We make sure that the paddy is flat. It will be helpful for the water management later on. And then marking, which means to mark a square grid pattern on the paddy fields, which will be useful for us when we go to plant 1 seedling per spot. Then seed selection, we select the good seeds. And then germination, we germinate them for 4 days. Planting, after 4 days, we transplant the seedlings from the nursery to the paddy fields. And then we start weeding, which is an activity that takes place every 10 days for 4 times during the vegetative stage. So from day 0, day after planting, to 50. Weeding is one of the most important steps because first it gets rid of the weed, unwanted weed that might compete with our crop for nutrients, because we turn over the soil and we let air and nutrients go back to the soil. And third, we will, giving also enough space, we will allow the roots to grow without competing with each other. And last reason is because we want to stretch the paddy. And then we apply organic fertilizer or plant booster that we make here at the farm. Then harvest and post-harvest, which means drying and packaging.
This method reduces inputs and the cost related. It allows an increase of the yield. In Malaysia, rice farmers which yields are around 3.2 tons metric per hectare. In Sri Lovely,
we can get almost 15 ton metric per hectare if nothing happens, like wild boar didn't attack, bird didn't attack, take away the grain. If everything is normal, control, so no wild boar, no bird, we can get 15. Now we only get around 8 ton to 10 ton per hectare. So we still have the high yield. Less chemical, healthy workers, healthy soil, fertilized soil, high yield. We try to show to new farmer who want to jump be a new organic farmer. So it's like integrated farming. They have rice, they have chicken, they have a goat, they have vegetable. That's more to sustain. So people, when people at rural areas sustain, they don't need money to go out or to buy something. So we increase the income.
SRI, System of Rice Intensification, is a developing method in Malaysia. It is also supported by the NGO SRIMAS, the Malaysian Agroecology Society.
We are an organization that comprises of farmers, academicians, entrepreneurs in agriculture, and all others who are interested in promoting sustainable agriculture in Malaysia, especially from the point of agroecology. So our mission basically is about bringing food security for all Malaysians. This is where our focus is, and because we are rice-eating people, we have a special interest in promoting agroecologically friendly rice farming systems, and this is where we at SRIMAS support system of rice intensification, which is also known as SRI. We use SRI because it supports the root systems, and it is from the root system that you get healthy plants. Now, healthy plants will grow big, will give good yields, and the farmers will gain from these high yields. And why not? This is actually a very environmentally friendly system. And so, if you take care of the environment, you'll be taking care of the farmers and the family that actually live on the land, and the rice that they produce is going to be healthy rice. They are going to sell to consumers. They are going to feed their families with healthy rice. This is where it augurs well with when we say we want to bring food security to Malaysians. And one of the main things is we need to give healthy sources of food to Malaysians. So this is where we need to put more effort into getting more farmers to plant SRI rice.
All along our trip, we visited vegetable farms, rice plantation, either Mr. Lee with his vegetables or Captain with his paddy field. They all aim to produce on a sustainable way. However, these initiatives represent still a minority in the country. We asked Dr. Norida from the Faculty of Agriculture in UPM why these agroecological or sustainable practices were not more developed.
For almost 30 years, what has been taught by the farmers on the field is following a calendar. They have a specific calendar on the stage of the crops growth, and then what they should do, either apply the fertilizers or pesticide. So however, by going through all this way, in the long run, it's not very sustainable, especially for you're going to have a problems with the environment, and of course for our safety of our food. So just give an example in the rice productions, where there is in the rice production in this country, we have a lot of subsidies from the land preparations and the incentive of the harvest. So all through the stages of the crop productions of the rice, I think there are a lot of subsidies of the inputs such as the seeds, the fertilizers, the pesticides, and sometimes some crop enhancers. So to increase, to encourage the adaptations of the sustainable food productions in Malaysia, I say we can relook or relearn again how to do it. Like instead of giving unnecessary subsidies, we can spend more capital on teaching the farmers. First of all, we have to teach the extensions workers where they can work together with the farmers and learn together the sustainable methods of the food productions on the farm. So I would say in this way, it's not in the short. It can't be done in the short term, but maybe it will take a few years before the farmers, can adapt to this method.
Won't you hear me at your door, singing, give me some more, 'cause you
Provide teaching to farmers is one of the solutions to spread agroecological or sustainable practices over Malaysia.
To develop a new agroecological dimension, Malaysian consumers have to be involved in this kind of project. Through their choices, consumers support a certain type of agriculture. So Malaysian consumers have to be aware of the different type of agriculture.
And in order to inform the consumer, the mass media has a key role to play. They can spread what is currently being done in Malaysia.
And then the government have to be implicated. Actually, the organic market is really expensive in Malaysia. So the government could give subsidies to organic farmers to reduce the price of their products and make them affordable for consumers.
In short, in conclusion, the farmers, the consumers, and the government have to work together in order to develop sustainable or agroecological practices in Malaysia.
Thank you.